Yeah, just under 10 minutes away from the top of the order in today's meter 50 Hermes Classic. 11:15 for our first on course, just under 10 minutes away.
Hello and welcome everyone. It is a gorgeous day here in Wellington, Florida. Welcome to the $62,500 CSI 4-star Hermes 1.50m Classic, here to conclude week 3 of the Winter Equestrian Festival here at Wellington International. All right, this week's class sponsor is Hermes. Since the company was founded in 1837, Hermes remains dedicated to making high-quality, handcrafted equestrian products for the horse, rider, and barn. Our workshops maintain a tradition of saddle making passed down from generation to generation of skilled artisans. With a strong commitment to innovation, Hermes integrates new materials and technology to develop high-performance technical apparel and equipment to meet the needs of riders at the highest levels of equestrian sport. Thanks, of course, to DOD Technologies presenting our live stream. DOD Technologies is an industry leader in creative design and technology support services for sports, entertainment, corporate, and special events. Visit us online at dodtechnologies.com. All right, as you can see, our first of 55 horse rider combinations are walking in the ring. And the first up is going to be America's Todd Minikus and the Spirit Group entry, Kabo Spirit. The 9-year-old Dutch-bred gelding by Darius with the Game Boy mother. Todd actually jumped this horse in the Grand Prix last night. It's just 9 years old, so a little bit green for the 4-star last night, which was an exhilarating competition, which saw Tiffany Foster with the win. But Todd looking like he's going to bring this 9-year-old back today for this 1.50m Classic to get us started. It's been jumping really well, this horse, but just a little bit green at 9 years old, but really stepping up to this high level. Beautiful jump there. Looking like it should be 9-9 for the first 3 jumps. Starts again off that first jump, the same as it was in the Grand Prix last night. And now right-hand turn, roll back to the black plank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nice boxy 7. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He just stayed out there. Pops the back pole coming into the double. A little bit short 4 here to the Liverpool. And now a little bit of a test of rideability. Left-handed turn, diagonal line across the middle. Oxer, big jump. A little bit up in 5. And then 5 again. Patient to the net jets vertical with those gray poles. And then right-handed turn away from the in-gate here. Passing the in-gate. Big Oxer. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He does the 9 coming in there. Short 2 stride in the vertical. Oxer. And then does that to the last. Does have the last one down as well. But he will finish up in a time of 76.22 with the 2 down for Todd Minikus and Kabo Spirit. We'll take a look at our time allowed. Course is set. It is 78 seconds. So we'll monitor that. These first 3, of course, the course was set by Canadian Peter Grant with assistance by Jason Shelley of the USA. And we will see what our next entry will do. Again, keeping an eye on that 78 seconds. But next up, we're going to see Catriona, the 9-year-old Dutch-bred mare owned by Lovesta Studerai and ridden by Peter Lutz. Catriona, 9-year-old mare. She jumped beautiful in the 1.50m on Friday. He actually had 2 beautiful rounds. Let's see if he can do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So just simple 9-9, those first 3 jumps. And then you have to go around the Lugano Diamonds here. Rolling back on this black plank. Should be nice patience 7. Does the 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Again, I think that will just depend on what the riders choose to do, how they land off that 7 strides. The 4 working out nicely to that Liverpool, the offset Liverpool vertical up in the corner. And then here, the big Oxer. It's the biggest jump on the course. Up in the 5. And then balancing in the 5 to the net jets vertical. He's looking good so far. This is a hard jump to jump. Jumps it beautifully. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just nice 8, middle to middle. Shorten the 2. A little bit of rub coming in. Stays up. Land 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the last, but does unfortunately have C coming out of the triple. So he will finish up with 4 faults times 76.55 for Peter Lutz and Catriona. Again, their time 76.55. Time allowed 78 seconds. We will monitor that for one more round to see if they adjust it. But time allows have been kind of right on all week, I think. And let's see what our next entry can do. It's going to be Niles Nasser and the Evergate Stables LLC entry, El Conde. Niles, 33 years old, representing his home country of Egypt. Sourced by Loro Piana Filou de Muse with a final shot mother. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's looking nice. Just 9 to 9, middle to middle. Just patient up here to the skinny. Similar course actually to last night's Grand Prix. Jumps haven't necessarily moved places so much. They've changed the actual material that's used and changed the order in which they come, but quite similar. So if you had a chance to watch last night's 4-star Grand Prix, you'll notice some similarities. Getting a little bit close and quick, but Niles doing a good job to make sure that this very bloody horse just taking the time to jump the jumps. Good jump there. Steadies up in the 5. Now here's a good place for time allowed to make sure that you kind of stay on it. It's a long way to this Lugano Diamonds Oxer. And a difficult jump to jump again when anytime that there's a single Oxer like that by itself, it encourages the horses to just open up, and then it's hard for them to get their balance back, especially with those pastel poles. All right, he'll finish up with 8 faults times 74.16 for Niles Nasser and El Conde. So again, he's well within that time allowed of 78 seconds, 74.16 Niles' time. I have a feeling they will keep that time allowed, but we'll know shortly. And we are going to see next up Belgium's Emily Contre. She is sitting on Ocean Quality, the Stefex Stables entry out of Belgium on the 10-year-old Belgian-bred mare by Baltic with the Camila Z mother. This horse, a really nice jumper. I've seen it go a bunch now. Really cute horse to see. It has great kind of expression. Nice uphill balance. Good shot there. She's looking good so far. The first part of the course seems to be riding quite nice. It's getting a little bit trickier down towards the end. Again, 55 horse rider combinations to see. We will hopefully have a jump off if we get any clears. Riders can ride 2 horses in this class. We don't have too many that are doing that today, but a couple will have 2 entries. She's riding this beautifully, just taking her time. You can see her just kind of use her upper body to slow the arc of the jump down. Great expression on the horse's face. Nice and simple here. Has to steady up for the short 2. Beautiful, great, careful effort on the horse's part there. Just steadies up to the last, gets over that. And just under our time allowed, 77.38. And Emily Contre will be our first clear in this $62,500 Hermes CSI 4-star meter 50 classic. So 1 clear. She showed us the way. And let's see if her fellow compatriot from Belgium, Nicola Philipps, can add his name to the jump-off list. Nicola's on his own entry of Camila Z, 10-year-old Zangerside mare by Cannon with the Flipper Dell mother. Of course, Nicola Philipps won our WEF Challenge Cup on Thursday this week. And I believe he might have finished up in the top 12 last night in the Grand Prix as well. This horse has a lot of blood. Really active. I think Nicola does a great job actually to ride horses that are like this, that are kind of spunky and really have a lot of activity in their gallop. He's quite a tall guy, but he manages to ride these sort of smaller blood horses well. A little bit of a hard rub there at the Kubota jump, but luckily that one stays up. That one unfortunately does cut down a little bit at A of the double and has the back pole there. A little bit up in the 5. Now steadies up for the 5. This horse you can see really active, and he's just keeping it going and then needs to contain it here for the short vertical. Just jumps a little bit at A and just can't quite get across C of that triple coming out. So he will pick up 3 down, 12 faults. Time is 72.17. So well within that time allowed of 78 seconds, but with the 3 down for Nicola and Clarcha. All right, so we are sitting on the 1 clear early on in this class. And I walked the course. I think it seemed like a fair test. I think Peter Grant's done quite a good job all week here, building very specific style that Peter has for building the courses. A lot of these kind of single long jumps that and asking the riders to sort of come forward and shorten and come forward and shorten, giving the riders a lot of options. And let's see if Canada's Beth Underhill and Nika van de Bischop can rise to the occasion. She's sitting on the Rain Family LLC entry of the 11-year-old Belgian-bred mare by Emerald. Of course, she's had tremendous success with this horse. I think it's just her first outing here for the 2024 season. I'm sure she's planning to set this horse up for some of the bigger 5 stars later on. But this horse has really an exceptional hind end, and that comes from her father. Emerald, of course, also very exuberant hind end and very kind of gummy. Opens up. Just gets there a little bit maybe early in the 5 strides. Has the front pole there. Again, it is a forward 5 to a short 5, but sometimes it's easy to kind of overdo it. This horse also has a very big stride. Beth just fin it in here. Nice and steady up there in the 2. A little bit push out at the oxer of C. Gets over the last, but does pick up that 1 across the middle. 4 faults. Time is 77.40. So within the time allowed, but with that 1 down across the middle, we'll keep her off the clear. It is a gorgeous day here in Wellington. It's the last of the warm days, however. I was looking at the weather, and it looks like it's going to get a little chilly the next few days, so everyone's going to soak up the sun and the heat today. It was very humid last night for the 4-star Grand Prix. A little bit cooler today with the breeze. All right, let's take a look at Beth's fellow countrymen from Canada. It is Amy Miller and Cristiano. 14-year-old gelding by Canosa with the complement mother. Owned by Future Adventures. Looking good so far. There you can see her thinking about the time allowed. She really landed, galloped away from that skinny, the black skinny, just thinking, all right, it's a long way back to number 4. Better make up some time. That was smartly ridden by Amy. Good use of her upper body there. You can see she's really steady, just thinking about having the withers of the horse jump up to her upper body. She doesn't want to come down to them. She wants them to come up to her. That really helps with the arc of the horse's jump. She has particularly good body control. She's actually quite a tall woman, but she does a good job not getting in the way. Her whole family, of course, very tall, but they do a great job not getting in the way. The horse steadies up here. Good, careful effort on the horse. Gets across that back pole. She's looking good on the time. Clears the last, and that will assure us of a jump off. So Cristiano and Amy Miller going clear into our jump off time, 74.83. So now we've got 2, which assures us of a jump off here in the Hermes 1.50m Classic. So big pets there for that. That was beautifully ridden, really well executed. You could tell she really thought about each jump. Took her time wanting to clear the jumps, not hurrying it. Time allowed looks like it's actually a little bit generous today. And with 55 to see, we'll see how many end up in our jump off for the conclusion of the 4-star week here in the 1.50m. All right, Spencer Smith, who had a great night last night, was clear in our 4-star Grand Prix on his other horse. Taking a look at him today on HHS Seattle, the Ashland Farms entry of the 11-year-old Irish-bred gelding by Pacino with the Cavalier Royale mother. All right, let's see what Spencer can do. This horse actually 11 years old, but actually a little bit green. I had spoken to him about it the other day, and he was saying he's a little bit inexperienced at this higher level. And it's quite a big horse, but very scopy. And wonderful Irish breeding. Ooh, a little bit of a touch there at the plank. That stays up. This horse is out of Pacino, and Pacino died young, but was a wonderful stallion in Ireland. Actually, really great stallion. But they announced last year that they cloned him. That's 3. So curious if we see any more Pacinos, because he not only was a great horse himself, but he was a great breeder. So be curious to see if the clone produces any more offspring, or if he actually gets into the sport himself. Be great to see that. Still allowed in show jumping, whereas in racing, I believe cloning is not allowed. Ooh, a little bit of reach coming out there, but looks good. Gets over the last, and he also will add his name to the good list. So another clear, 2 in a row, HHS Seattle and Spencer Smith. So nice, simple, beautiful round there by Spencer. Not looking green at all. So he will add his name to the jump off, and that takes our count to 3. So a few early clears here in the 1.50m. Many more to see. But first of those is going to be USA's Nicola Philipps. Nikki's sitting on Chatu 7, the 15-year-old gelding owned by Chatwood Farms, LLC, by Choco Blue with the Toulon mother. Former ride of Nikki Shahinian Simpson, but Nikki Herz had the ride now for quite a while on Chatu, and has had some really good rides on this horse. This horse has a very big gallop. You can see its kind of knees are really out in front of it, and it can take her quite close to the distances, but it's very handy. For a horse with a big gallop like this, it's handy enough. It actually manages to get itself out of the way, which is a good skill and shows the athleticism. Of course, with that Choco Blue and Toulon breeding, not surprised to see the blood and the scope, and the horse is really jumping forward, especially from that Toulon. We see that. Sits up there, uses her upper body for the 5. We'll have to steady up here. That actually is, it walked a sort of long 5 to short 5. It's not riding quite as an adjustment as I expected it to. I thought it would really ride up more because that teal oxer out of the corner is the largest oxer, I think, on the course. And I thought they'd land a little shallower. They're not landing so shallow there. They are all a little bit struggling to get out at C of the triple, and she does pick that up. So she will finish up with 8 faults. Time is 76.05 for Nicolette Hurt and Chatu 7. So certainly testing rideability in this course. But I think that all of the doubles and triples, all the combinations built this week by Peter Grant, have really tested the scope of the horses. We saw last night in the Grand Prix, a lot of horses had the back pole of B of the triple, and now we're seeing the horses all reach a little bit to get out at the oxer. Of course, with those double verticals coming in today at 12A and B, that really parks the horses a bit and slows them up, and then you have to really re-motivate to get out at C, and you can see the horses all reaching to get out. All right, let's take a look at last night's fabulous 4-star winner, Tiffany Foster and Come Sta. Of course, she won last night on Battle Cry, but today she's sitting on Come Sta, the 5 Roosters and Tiffany Foster entry of the 10-year-old mare by Comme Foe with the Catriona mother. Tiffany was absolutely spectacular. Last to go in the jump off last night, and sitting on one of my truly favorite horses at the moment, Battle Cry. But today she's sitting on Come Sta. It was nice. We saw 3 women on the podium last night. Always good to see a little bit of girl power. This horse, she's opting to use a hackamore. A little bit deep there. You can see a little bit of a rub at the front pole, but stayed up. Gets a little bit close to the Liverpool as well. This is quite a big horse. Gets up the 5 easy. Then she can sit up to fit the 5 here. Tiffany has such a nice closed hip angle when we talk about when you go to steady. You can see she doesn't really lean back. She kind of closes that hip angle, gets closer to the horse, more connected. And that helps shorten the horse with keeping the energy. I think she is quite a stylistic rider. Little bit of help there to get out at C. She's looking good on the time. Clears the last, and that will be another clear. You can see that big pet for her. So Tiffany will make it 4 for our jump-off list. And we'll see if she can keep her roll going from the win last night. And I'm sure she would love to pick up the win here today in the meter 50. But it remains to be seen who will take it. All right, next up, Brazil's Eduardo Pereira de Minikus and Calypso de Matisse. The Eduardo Pereira de Minikus entry of the 12-year-old gelding by Paddock Duplessis and the Tresor de Show mother. And he was, I believe, 3rd in our WEF Challenge Cup on this horse. Oh, maybe that was yesterday, actually, or Friday in the meter 50. I think maybe not in the WEF. I have to check that. But he was certainly 3rd in something this week with this horse. Actually, I think it might have been the WEF. But this horse jumped really well earlier in the week. Has sort of a flat gallop. You can really see that it's doesn't really sort of pick its knees up so much. It's really quick across the ground, kind of shorter front legs. But it is really a good jumper. Beautiful shape there. Look at that. Really sets himself to jump that double. And it's careful and it's quick. A horse like this with a gallop like this can be very quick across the ground. They don't waste much time in the air, even though they throw really a beautiful shape jump. Look at that. Knees up. Steadies up there. Balance of this horse a little bit more flat versus we wouldn't say it's necessarily uphill. But it is a careful one. Look at that athletic little thing. Ooh, a touch at C, but luckily stays up, clears the last, and that will be another clear for us for Calypso, bringing our count up to 5 for our jump off so far. So he's having a super week on Calypso. And, it's going to be an exciting jump off We've seen 12 go, and 5 of those have been clear, so our clear rate is very high at the moment. We'll see if that stays like that for the rest of the class. We're going to end up with quite a lot of clears, possibly. Okay, we are going to move on to Carlos Hank Guerrero and the H5 Sport Horses LLC entry, H5 Ganesh Hero Z. 10-year-old Zangerside Stallion by Gemini with the Diamond mother. Of course, I mentioned it the other day. This was a really famous young horse in Ireland. It sort of won all the young horse classes. Everyone talked about this horse as a young one. And but it's been a really good horse. Carlos has been bringing it along. I think they bought it a couple of years ago. You can see it's beautiful jumper behind. So 5 clear at the moment. It's looking like he had the front pole of the teal oxer up at the top. A little bit hard for you guys to see on the screen, but we can see the 4 faults on the score. And I see a jump crew walking over there to pick up that fault. Sits up here for the 2. Just loses the front end a little bit at B. Just not able to jump up and curl around that. Gets over the last, but will pick up the 2 down. 8 faults. Time is 77.73 for Carlos and H5 Ganesh Hero Z. So now we will move on to Canada's Mario Delorier and the Aram Ampagumian LLC entry, Costa Quick PS. Costa Quick is the 10-year-old gelding by Conthargos with the Quick Star mother. I've seen this horse a bunch, and I really like it. He had a super round the other day. Looking very spunky this morning. A little playful beginning, but very athletic, this horse. Oh, has the first jump down. Very deflating. Oh, but what a reaction there. Jumped the next jump gorgeously. Really patted the ground. And look at that. Amazing there at the vertical. I think maybe it was just a little bit distracted. You could see he was playing when he started and just didn't quite pick up, and a little casual at number 1 because now he's really flying. Good active ride there into the double. And clears the offset Liverpool. I haven't seen too many problems there at the Liverpool. Not always the easiest jump to jump, but actually they're handling that quite well. Beautiful there, really opened up nice behind. And there you can see him leg to hand active. Oh, great jump there. Very athletic move of the horse at C. And a little bit of a touch at the last, but clears it. But he will pick up the 2 down. 8 faults. Time is 76.61 for Mario Delorier and Costa Quick PS. All right. We will move on to the Ash Atkinson entry, Incento SA and Jacob Pope. 29 years old, representing his home country of the USA. Jacob also jumped double clear in our WEF Challenge Cup. And let's see what he can do today on the 11-year-old Dutch-bred gelding by Cardento with the Voltaire mother. We've seen some really great sport here this week for the 4-star. Again, it's the first 4-star week for the Winter Equestrian Festival. A little bit of a reach there. Just looked like he got caught out on the outside track. Needed to move up a little bit to that oxer, but steadies up nice for the black skinny. And again, this is our first 4-star of the season. We'll see another 4-star out on the grass again next week, so make sure to join us for that. We'll be bringing you guys the live stream action all week. Steadies up here. Beautiful high jump coming in. Just nice there in the 4. Just lands, waits a little bit so he can move up in the 5, and then steadies up nice there. He's looking good. Seems a little bit more patient to me than some of the other riders. I think he should be okay with the time, but we're just going to keep an eye on that. Ooh, rub the front and back pole of that oxer at C. Gets over the last and just over that time allowed. I did think he was a little bit patient. So he will pick up the 1 time fault, 78.12 for Jacob Pope. But a beautiful round, just a little bit too patient around the course, but great jumping round. All right, moving on to USA's Grant Seager and Cantuccini. 13-year-old gelding, owned and ridden by Grant himself. This horse is by Cloney with a Kalido 1 mother. Kalido's the dam sire of this horse, producing really scopy, nice character horses, kind of uphill. You can see this horse has nice natural balance. There just looked like he was still kind of turning as he took off at the delicate plank. So he has number 4 down. First time we've actually seen that plank come down. It is a delicate jump, but it has those big solid wings, and that helps kind of frame it a little bit. The horses can see it a little bit better. I was talking with the course designer earlier in the day and saying that the material used is so important, and not only just the material used, but then how you frame it, whether you put simple standards or big imposing standards, and the wings on it really can make a difference of how the horses see them. Again, remember, horses' eyes are on the sides of their head, not directly in front. They're a little bit colorblind, so they don't see the way we do, and it can really affect how the materials used can change the outcome. Okay, so he will finish up 1 on the clock, 2 down, total of 9 faults. Time is 78.03, so just 0.03 of a second over that time allowed, but he will pick up the 1 time fault and the 2 down for Grant Seager. All right, let's take a look at Puerto Rico's Vasco Flores. He is sitting on Dinapo, the Anton Marano entry of the 10-year-old Danish-bred gelding by Kabo and the Boga Gardens Apollo mother. So again, we are sitting on the 5 clear at the moment. We had a couple of early clears. And let's see if Puerto Rico's entry of Dinapo can do it. Nice jump there. This horse has really nice expression. And it's the dam sire of this horse is Boga Gardens Apollo, which was a Danish stallion that bred a really famous horse called Apollonia. And if you see this horse, it actually looks very similar to Apollonia. Sort of simple bay, kind of same body type. That, of course, if anyone remembers from the WEG in Caen in France, it was the most popular horse of that entire event. Everyone loved it. And had a couple of famous riders in its life. Beautiful there. You can see the horse really balancing himself on the takeoff, kind of crouched down. You love to see that, right? You want to see the horses kind of crouch down on takeoff. And there you go. See, the balance kind of drops, but it's more to load up that hind end to get the power. When I see horses do that, I immediately think, ooh, that's a good one. I like when they do that. A little bit of a rub there. Gets over the last in that time allowed. And another clear, 75.91 for Dino and Vasco Flores. So that'll bring us to 6 on the jump off so far. And we will keep on rolling through this meter 50 Hermes Classic. All right, next up for the USA, 24-year-old Raley Hiller and Lennox van de Bisschop. Lennox van de Bisschop is owned by Kurt Hiller and Suzanne Hansen, and it is an 13-year-old Belgian-bred gelding by Ballard du Rouet. Former ride of Sophie Hinners out of Germany. Sophie Hinners won very, very excellent horse developer in Europe. I think she won a 4-star last week in one of the Middle Eastern tours. And she also developed Tyza Erwin's horse that jumped last night, Hyalita. So she's a very well-known German female rider. And this horse we were talking about the other day has a really uphill balance, a lot of blood, really jumps forward. Similar to Ballard. If you ever watch any videos, go back, or if you remember any stuff with Rodrigo and Ballard. Also, big gallop, very uphill, maybe a little bit straight through the top line, but you really see that coming through here in Lennox. Of course, Ballard, one of the most famous, best horses of all time. Oh, there, she just tried to sit it up and fit in that 2, but with a big horse like that, that short 2 at the end is not the easiest to jump. So she will have B and C down, 8 faults total, 79.05. She does pick up 2 on the clock as well for a total of 10, and sitting in 16th place at the moment for Raley Hiller and Lennox. All right. We'll move on to another lady who was absolutely spectacular in last night's 4-star Grand Prix. She had a great round, but today she is sitting on Ginger Ask. 10-year-old Holsteiner mare owned by Aaron Ballard and Marigold Sport Horses LLC, and by Casal with a La Visto mother. Jumps up high there. Aaron, of course, one of the best female riders on the circuit. And I always praise her for being able to ride so many different types of horses. Sometimes riders are great, but they're really only great on, a specific type of horse. And Aaron manages to get the best out of anything she sits on. She's such a strong, secure rider. We should all aspire to be this secure in the tack and strong yet soft. She's looking good so far. Just coming down this last line. Sits up there. Ooh, a little bit of a touch and then just not able to get across the back pole there. Again, we're seeing those kind of mistakes coming a lot. So she will pick up that 4 faults, time 76.80. So really solid round there for Aaron and Ginger Ask, but unfortunately down the last line, struggling through that triple and having the 4 faults. So let's take a look at our next one. It's going to be Luis Francisco de Azevedo, the Brazilian rider. And he is sitting on the Santa Cecilia Stables entry, Colin. Longtime partner of his. And this horse is by Calandro with an amethyst mother and 17 years young. I think one of the oldest horses in the class, but it's been a long-time partnership for Luis and Colin. They've had tremendous success together. Very scopy. And a lot of blood this horse has, and really uphill head carriage. Ooh, looked like a light touch maybe there on the plank. Luckily it stayed up. Remember those planks sitting on flat cups, so you got to touch them in right the perfect way. Ooh, a little bit long there, but good effort by Luis to encourage the horse to landed a bit shallow from the oxer, and he said, "Come on, we got to get out." And the horse gave a good jump coming out. Steadies up here for the 5, gets a little bit right to the base, but it jumps the net jets vertical well. Eight here. Touch, and just not able to get out. We're seeing this happen a lot in this class. Horses really getting stuck in A and B and then struggling to get out at C. So he will pick up the 4 faults at the end of the course, time 77 flat for Luis Francisco de Azevedo and Colin. So we're seeing that a lot. Horses are jumping the bulk of the course quite well, and then they're coming down that last line to 12A, B, and C and struggling, getting over A quite well, but either touching or having B down and then just really struggling to get out at C. It's riding very scopy and long off those short 2-stride vertical. All right, let's see if USA's Caitlyn Flores and Camila Z, the Caitlyn LLC entry of the 12-year-old Zangerside mare by Cliff 67 out of Sandro Boy Jr. This horse is 12 years old, but still a little bit green at this higher level, but it's really a good jumper. And Cat does a great job with this horse. Little bit of a shift there. I think that's why that comes down. You could see as she took off, the horse really shifted to the left, lost a little bit of height in the air, having that plank down. Beautiful ride there through the double. Cat also another one of those riders that's very strong in the saddle, helps create that energy. So with the early fault, let's see how she does down this last line. Pats the ground there, gets over that. Reach out, beautiful jump out there. No trouble with the triple, gets over the last. However, is a little bit, right on that. Look at that, 78 flat. So that is our time allowed. She will pick up the 4 faults, however, so she will be sitting in 12th place at the moment. You don't see that so often, but remember, 78 flat is still, it's the time allowed, 78 seconds and within. So with the 78 flat, she will not pick up a time fault. Okay, moving on to none other than the USA's McLean Ward. Of course, representing his home nation, and he's sitting on La Serra, 10-year-old Holsteiner mare, owned by Susan Heller and McLean Ward himself. This horse by Casal with the Lacrosse mother. And let's see if McLean can add his name to the good list. 6 clear at the moment. So beautiful to watch McLean ride. It's just so still everywhere. Such an organized rider. I think that's one of his strongest things, is to see the organization and the plan. He never looks frazzled out there. He never looks like anything is desperate. It's always just very secure. Beautiful jump there. That was a great ride. Right to the base, but he had a lot of pace and energy. Horse losing the front end a little bit there. It just touched the top pole, but kind of touched it on the top, so that one stays in the cups. Really sets himself great there. Sets herself really well there to jump the oxer across the middle. Does the steady 9, sits up for the 2, leg out, really great there. You could see McLean was really thinking about how to jump C, gets over the last, absolutely beautiful round, well executed, 76.14. And McLean will add his name to the good list, bringing our count up to 7. But that was a very precise ride by McLean Ward. You could see he was really thinking about each jump, and I believe his horse jumped the absolute best through that triple, where it really cleared A and B, and then he helped remotivate and keep the energy, and he got a high, lofty, but forward jump at C coming out of the triple, which we've seen a lot of horses struggle with. All right. Moving on to USA's Jessica Springstein, 32-year-old rider, ranked 114th in the world at the moment. And she is sitting on the Rushy Marsh Farm LLC entry, RMF Clinton's son, the 12-year-old stallion by Clinton with the Heartbreaker mother. And Jess had a really good round on Friday's meter 50 with just 1 down, so setting up for today's class. This horse really, such a cute way of jumping. You know, he kind of gets to the stride on takeoff and kind of pats the ground and then jumps up nice and high. Nice in the 7 here. Good shot in there. She had lots of pace. A little bit of a touch at B, but that stays up. She did a good job there to keep the horse really straight at the Liverpool. It's up against that fence. They can shy away from it. She did a good job just to keeping the horse straight. Nice shot there. Sits up in the 5. And now coming down towards our last line. She's on the inside track. Gets right to the base, sits up, and now is going to have to squeeze to get out. Oh, she gets across it. 1 left to go. And there we go, another clear. So 2 in a row. Jessica Springstein. Oh, she's not. She actually picks up .08 over our time allowed. So she will pick up the 1 time fault for Jessica Springstein and RMF Clinton's son. So beautiful jumping round, but just over that time allowed. Will keep her out of our 7-horse jump off at the moment. So good round, but a tad too slow. Okay, moving on to USA's Caitlyn Connors. Caitlyn Connors sitting on her own, on the Caitlyn Connors LLC entry of Falcon de Hoos Z. It's a 15-year-old gelding by Florian de la Vie with the Atlantis mother. This horse was a former ride of Australia's Scott Keach, as well as Roberto Teran. So we've seen a couple of just with a time fault. And we're sitting on the 7 clear at the moment. A little bit long there. Good effort on the horse's part to just reach across that oxer. sets himself there. There you can see her really land, add leg. Horse just a little bit backed off, needing to support a little bit extra. Sets this up well. Just rolls A out of the cup, touched it in front, and then finished it off behind. But gets over the last. Will finish up just with that late fault. A coming into the triple. 4 faults. Time is 76.05 for Caitlyn Connors and Falcon DeHoos. So, our next one is a scratch in the order, and we will move on to Lebanon's Jad Dana. He's sitting on the Spring Hill Farm 1850 LLC entry after 8. 14-year-old Swedish-bred mare by Eduardo with the Cardento mother. Of course, he was the winner of our Meter 50 Classic out here 2 weeks ago in the 3-star during week 1. On this horse, let's see if he can jump clear again and add his name to what is a 7-horse tiebreaker at the moment. This horse has a lot of blood. Jad does a good job to kind of contain it. Gets over that little bit of a touch on the back pole. Ends up a little bit off on the right track. Leg here. Really good there. You can see just thinking about, all right, what do I got to do to make it happen? Jad's so good at just making things happen. That's our sport a little bit, right? We don't have to necessarily have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to be perfect. But you got to just keep going and keep trying to make things happen. And I think Jad does that one of the best on the tour. Never giving up and just adjusting when he has to. You can see the horse landed, shifted real hard right, and he was like, nope, going to add one more stride, stretch across that last, and keep it active to the last. And look at that fast time, 72.31. So he will add his name to the jump off and see if he can defend his Meter 50 title from a couple of weeks ago. So Jad Dana and After 8 adding their name to the good list, and we know that's going to be a fast pair in our jump off. So we'll look out for him when we come back with our second round. Okay, but we'll move on to Germany's Rupert Karl Winkelmann. And he's sitting on Quinn 33, the Eichendorff horses GmbH & Co. entry of the 14-year-old gelding by Quidam de Revel with the Contender mother. This horse, a former ride of Jana Vargers out of Germany, as well as Andreas Kreutzer. So, had some very good riders in the past. But now we've got Rupert Karl Winkelmann. Sits up there for the balance. This horse also having a lot of blood. And an interesting fact, the sire of this horse, Quidam de Revel, was actually one of the first stallions used as frozen semen globally. And he sort of started that trend, and of course now we see tons of frozen semen being used, both for embryo transfers as well as ICSI and all different types of breeding. Little bit of stretch there across the 5. Again, this horse, a little bit of a hectic ride. It's not so much Rupert's issue. It's more just that the horse is very active, has a lot of blood, very eager to get to the side. So you can see it's back and forward, but he's doing a great job. He's looking good, well within our time allowed. Gets over that last. What a super clear round. That was 74.06 and adds his name to the jump off. That's going to be 9 clear so far. And it's an active ride, but Rupert did a great job there to keep it going and into our jump off. All right, moving on to Aaron Vale of the USA and his entry, Obi-Wan. 12-year-old gelding owned by Allison Register and thinks like a horse. Out of Centadel by Continue Mother. Aaron's such a competitive rider. And he will be heading over to Abu Dhabi in a couple of weeks for the new League of Nations competition, which is the new league that the FEI has developed to sort of replace our traditional Nations Cup jumping. So he will be heading over there shortly as part of that team. Be a nice change of pace, but I'm sure we'll see him later in season as well. I think he did have the back pole of that teal oxer, just a little bit shallow. Again, that teal oxer is the biggest, widest jump on the course. And we haven't seen it come down too much, just a couple of times so far. Comes in a little bit on the right to left angle, but no trouble getting out there at all. Gets over the last, but with that earlier fault, he will pick up 4 total, times 77.29. So within our time allowed, but with the 4 faults, we'll put him into 16th place at the moment. Again, 9 clear so far. And with 55 combinations to see total, we're nearing our halfway point. Not quite there yet. But let's take a look at USA's Molly Ash Colley and Echo VH Garandal Z. 12-year-old mare by Echo Van Spieveld with the Jodocus mother, owned by the Sky Group. Molly also another one of those really scrappy riders, just so good to make things happen. She's small up there, but she is quite strong. Really good ride there coming into the double. Sits up there. You can see her using her upper body to slow the horse down, make sure that it stays up in the air and not getting too quick across the jumps. Needs to steady up here for the 5. That NetJets vertical with the gray rails actually jumping better than it's jumped all week. Those sort of pastel, solid color rails, hard for the horses to jump, but they're jumping the NetJets vertical better today than we've seen. Can she get through this triple? A little bit of leg out. Yes, she can. Looking good. 1 left to go, and light touch at the end, but it stays up. Clear 75.31 for Molly Ash Colley and the Sky Group's Echo and Garandal Z. So, clear round there, bringing our count up to 10 at the moment. And let's see what Australia's Tyza Erwin and High Star Hero can do. The Michael and Wendy Smith entry of the 11-year-old gelding by I Am Orhova Star with the Darko mother. The big, powerful jumper. Jumps that really well. Tyza's been developing this horse for the last period, and they're just getting into their groove. But a big, powerful horse this is. Can shift a little bit right there. You can see the right shift. He does touch the back pole. Luckily, that stays up. really good there. Look how great he kind of crouched down and jumped around that one beautifully, as well as the Liverpool. Big jump there. Jumps the middle oxer well. Steadies up here. Gets over the vertical. So this, you can see a little bit of that right drift as well. She has to stay out here. She lands, kind of makes the adjustment. Steadies up. Needs to sit up here. Great, and kick out. Ugh, just losing a little bit of power coming out of the triple. And didn't have enough push forward, so she will pick up the 4 faults and 1 on the clock. Total of 578.89 for Tiza Erwin and High Star Hero. So good solid round, but jumped through the double verticals, really backed up great there, but just a little bit losing the momentum and the impulsion on takeoff at C. And coming down early, having the back pull with the front legs for High Star Hero and Tiza. Okie dokie. That looks like it's going to take us to our halfway drag. We are sitting on the 10 clear at the moment. About another 27, 28 or so to go in our second half. Again, thanks to our sponsor of today's class, Hermes. And since the company was founded in 1837, Hermes remains dedicated to making high-quality, handcrafted equestrian products for the horse, rider, and barn. Our workshops maintain a tradition of saddle making passed down from generation to generation of skilled artisans with a strong commitment to innovation. Hermes integrates new materials and technology to develop high-performance technical apparel and equipment to meet the needs of riders at the highest levels of equestrian sport. So we thank Hermes for their sponsorship, and we will take our midway drag. They're just going to spin around with the tractors, refresh the footing, and we will be back with you guys shortly. So stay tuned for the second half of our Hermes 1.50m Classic coming up shortly.
With NetJets, travel will always be personal. We do everything it takes to make every flight exceptional. Every single detail of your experience is personalized, just for you. As our standard is not just to meet our definition of perfection, it's to exceed yours.
Can Jumper make you a show jumping expert? With Jumper, explore the latest event results, discover top horses and riders, and follow your favorites. Jumper delivers data from around the world, so you're always the most informed. Download now and take the guesswork out of show jumping with Jumper.
It goes like this.
I share my life with them. I think we're lucky that we get to do what we do, and I've never looked at it as a sacrifice.
For me, being on a horse is the one place I can truly be myself.
They do have a language, you just have to learn how to speak it.
Remember that they feed off of our energies, and so if you're in a good mood or you're happy, they'll reflect that back.
You meet people from all over the world. You have friends that share the same passion for horses, and I think that's something very special.
Horses is the only constant thing in my life, and it will always be there when I need it.
For me, it's connection.
They make me who I am.
It's very hard to explain. It's magical.
It's just who we are.
In one word, it's freedom.
For me, it's everything.
Can Jumper help you find your next top horse? Let's say you're looking for an 8-year-old, competing at meter 40, jumping clear 60% of the time. Jumper lets you find top horses by age, pedigree, or performance. Download now and take the guesswork out of show jumping with Jumper.
The greatest thing about our sport is not the ribbons, the trophies, nor the crowds. Each and every one of us found this sport because it gave us something we couldn't find before. What our sport gave us was a common love through horses. It forged a bond greater than petty differences and the sting of competition. It gave us community, it gave us love, and it gave us support through the good times and the bad. It gave us encouragement, and it gave us the strength to persevere through the toughest of times. The older we get, the more we realize the importance of one another and supporting one another. We cannot go forward without each other. Join us February 13th at Maida Farm for the 3rd annual Babington Benefit Classic, where you can make a difference in the great community we have built together. We are equestrian strong. We are the Kevin Babington Foundation. Learn more and register on our website, kevinbabingtonfoundation.org.
Welcome to Carlswood, the home of Irish Olympic medalist, coach and international horse producer, Cian O'Connor. At Carlswood, we pride ourselves on the belief that success is reward for effort. Set in County Meath, Carlswood is the home of Cian's industry-leading high-performance centre. The Carlswood system is based on a structured approach to daily routine and meticulous planning to help reach our goals. At Carlswood, Cian and the team work together to provide coaching, mentoring, advice on horse purchases and goal setting. We also facilitate students who wish to progress their show jumping skills while they study in universities in Ireland and across Europe. When it comes to developing your horse's fitness, scheduling and planning around competitions, no stone is left unturned. At Carlswood, we are committed to delivering quality, a place where our goal is the fulfilment of your ambition.
All right, hello and welcome back to the second half of the $62,500 Hermes CSI 4-star meter 50 Classic. Tractors are just finishing up their rounds for the midway drag. We have 10 clear at the moment. And of course, thanks to Hermes for the sponsorship of this class. And of course, this week's title sponsor here for the CSI 4-star is NetJets, and Hermes sponsoring our meter 50 classics all season here at the Winter Equestrian Festival. And of course, thanks to DOD Technologies presenting our live stream. DOD Technologies is an industry leader in creative design and technology support services for sports, entertainment, corporate, and special events. Visit us online at dodtechnologies.com. And today's live stream is also presented in part with the support of the U.S. Equestrian Federation and the USEF Network. So we thank all of our supporters here at Wellington International. We could not do this season without them, and it is wonderful to have their support. It's been a great class so far. I've seen 10 jump clear, so enough clear at the moment at the halfway point. And the course is riding fair, but certainly difficult enough and scopy enough at the end for the triple. That's been a bit the trickiest thing. Of course, I'm your host, Danny Waldman, and I am so excited to be here for you. I will be with you guys each Thursday for the Challenge Cups as well as Sundays for the meter 50s. And we saw last night's 4-star Grand Prix, which was very, very exciting. 3 women topped the podium. Tiffany Foster, of course, taking the win on Battle Cry. And she was last to go, and it was very, very exciting. It was great to see her win. It was actually her first win under the lights for Saturday Night Lights for Tiffany Foster of Canada. So that was wonderful for her to pick up her first, and she's also clear in today's class so far, so we'll see her back later for the jump off. And it's been a really nice week of show jumping. We've been lucky with the weather. It's been beautiful all week, nice and warm, some light clouds, a little bit of a breeze, and it has been absolutely beautiful. It is supposed to get chilly next week, so hopefully everyone has some jackets ready, but could be a lot worse. We're still in sunny South Florida, so we're the lucky ones. But let's see how many more go clear in the rest of today's class. Again, 10 already, having jumped the first round clear. It's going to be an exciting jump off, too. The jump off course, I'll talk you guys through it before that starts. But a lot of long distances and big runs, and then a couple of rollbacks. But I think it's going to be a really exciting jump off with so many in it. Again, definitely come back next week for the other 4-star that we're going to see. We're going to see a 2 and a 4-star next week. Back out on the grass field over at Global. And, of course, everybody loving the footing out there and nice to jump. We were a little quieter this week, although I will say last night I heard a spec that there were 10,000 visitors for the 4-star Grand Prix, which is wonderful. So if you guys are listening, make sure to come out and check out the action in person and live. All right, we will start out our second half with Irish rider Philip McGuane. He is sitting on the 10-year-old mare Orphea HQ, owned by the Evergate Stables LLC by Emerald with the E-Preserve and a Hike mother. And let's see what Orphea can do. Again, a lot of the times, once the footing is refreshed and second half of the class, the first or second, sometimes even third rider often go clear once we've had our drag break. So let's see if that statistic will hold for Orphea and Philip McGuane. Again, similar course, actually a little bit similar to last night, starting out with that same first jump, same kind of turn to number 2. Nice and steady. This horse has a beautiful kind of simple way of going. Can see no martingale. Has the breastplate, the elastic breastplate, holding the saddle in place. Does have the plank off the turn. Just look like caught the distance a little bit, kind of sweeping around that turn, not quite straight to it. And then does pick up the back pole of the Kubota as well. Just trying to hold the horse straight here and keep it active to the big oxer out of the corner. Steadies up for this 5-stride. Clear there. And coming into this difficult, nice jump there, actually. Really careful. Big stretch out. You can see the horse just tuck the little hind end to get across that at the end. Gets over it, but does pick up those 3 down on the course. 12 faults total and time of 75.28 for Philip McGuane and Orphea. So holding at the 10 clear. And let's see if Brazil's Gabriel de Matos Machado and Niles van de Motelhove, the I Am Morhova star and Carbonneau van de Helm mother entry of the 11-year-old gelding, owned by Bay Winds Equestrian LLC, Equine Equity Partners LLC, and Sweet Oak Farm. So I think it's been a bit of a fair course out here today. We've seen, 10 go clear, so enough jumping clear, but we've seen faults kind of everywhere. Again, that triple at the end causing probably the most trouble for people. A little bit deep there, gets a little bit long coming out of the double, but that is clear. Gets over the Liverpool. This horse jumping a little bit in its own shape. You can see it kind of stalls a little bit on takeoff and then curls around the jumps. A little bit wide here, lines it up. A little bit left to right on the angle, then goes out. A little bit of the cross canter, a bit unbalanced coming in, but very scopy horse coming from that I Am Morhova star on the father's side. But look at that. Clear on the jumping, but does pick up 3 time faults. Time of 80.11 for Gabriel de Matos Machado and Niles. So clear on the course, but 3 on the clock. So jumped really well, but jumped too well. It was a little bit slow and picking up a couple time faults. So we will move on to the USA's Lily Keenan, 27-year-old rider, and she is sitting on Chili Pepper HMZ, the Chansonet Farm LLC entry of the 9-year-old Zangerside Stallion by Cornetto Belinsky with the Catriona Z mother. So Lily had 1 down in the 4-star Grand Prix last night, but jumped a really good round. And you can see she's just waving her hands, so they pause that start clock for her. Let the horse finishes up his business, and off she goes. So that is a nice thing. If you guys are unaware, the riders can wave their hand during the start clock if they want a little bit of a pause. And then they'll start it back up once she's going. All right, this horse just 9 years of age, stepping up to this high level. But a very, very scopy horse. Again, coming from the Cornetto Belinsky. Really good jumpers. Also on the Caritano side. So this horse well bred to be a good jumper. Takes the bigger one coming in there, but the horse backs up good in the double. Gets over that. Lily really using her upper body. Let the horse jump up to her at that oxer there as well. This horse has quite a big stride. Here she's thinking about time allowed, really taking the big jump there. Just open the horse up. Maybe needed to go out and do one more stride there. Just got a little bit flat as she took off. And gets through the triple. And gets over the last, but with that one down at the Lugano Diamonds Oxer, 4 faults, total is 75.21. So well within that time allowed, but a little bit open across the top by the in-gate for that front pole of the blue Oxer. Okie dokie. Holding on that 10 clear, and let's see if the USA's Elise Oken and Bonhomme Richard, the 13-year-old stallion by Katoki with the Caprice Bois Margot mother, the entry for High Hopes Farm LLC. Self-Francais stallion. And not a big horse, but this horse is really a good jumper. Former rider Ken Farrington and Megan Moissonnier of France. But Elise has had the ride on this horse now for a couple of years. And it's been a really good horse for her. He's not very big, but he sure can jump. And he's by Katoki. And Katoki, of course, really nice horses. Look at this. She does an inside turn. Just thinking about the time allowed. So instead of going around the blue Lugano Diamonds Oxer, she went inside and then back out for an interesting line back to number 4. We haven't seen anyone else take that. Gets a little bit close. Slight rub on the top pole there at 7. At least another one of those riders who is heading over to Abu Dhabi for the new League of Nations competition in a couple of weeks. Steadies up right here to the base. Needs to sit up for this. Great jump. Leg out. Really good reach there from the horse. Steadies up to the last. Gets over it. Inside that time allowed, 76.91, adding her name to the good list. That'll bring us up to 11. And nice clear round there for Elise Oken and Bonhomme Richard. So 11 now on the good list. And we will move on to McLean Ward on his second entry. Cedric 84. So McLean was clear on his first entry, La Serra. Let's see if he can do it again here on the 12-year-old gelding, owned by Sport4 USA LLC, by Christian 25 with the Lapico S mother. Making a little bit of a circle, just organizing himself, and Cedric 84. And I believe Peter Leone rode this horse for a little bit. I know Thomas Joffrey of Argentina, Chris Uwanowski of the USA as well. And the Lapico mare, the mother of this horse, actually jumped 160 herself. So, and Christian 25, the sire of this horse, was crazy, crazy popular. And it was sold really expensive to these to an English person, and then actually died. So it was super popular, but not so many because he died young. But McLean doing a great job so far, looking nice and simple. It's looking good. I think he's okay with the time. He looks nice and patient, but he's gone on the inside track. So he should be okay. Let's see. Has to fit this 2 in. Ooh, hard rub at B and just doesn't get across C. Gets over the last, however. Stays within that time allowed, 77.11, but picking up C of the triple, which we've seen come down a ton. He will finish up with the 4 faults for McLean, Ward, and Cedric. So he's clear on his first, so he will be back for our jump off, but just on the 1. Okie dokie, moving on to Raley Hiller's second entry, and she is sitting on Abora's Chloe, 13-year-old mare owned by Kurt Hiller, and out of Choco Blue with a La Capo mother. It's a 13-year-old mare. So 11 clear at the moment. But there's quite a lot of good horse and rider combinations in this class, so not surprised to see a number clear. At least this meter 50 classic often can see quite a lot clear. But it's looking fair today. You know, we're seeing some of the good combinations really jump clear. Some of the younger green ones having a fault here and there. And of course that triple causing probably the most trouble. So people getting through the bulk of the course, and then the triple is really difficult to jump. Not only delicate with the double verticals, but riding Scopy to come out. But Raleigh looking good so far on Obora's Chloe. Sits up there for the second 5. That is actually riding quite well for the horses and riders. Just a little test, a little equitation-y kind of test. Move forward and then shorten, and the riders and the horses are all handling that well. And a little bit leg out here. Wow, great jump out for Chloe. No trouble, very scopy jump out. She will pick up a couple of time faults, 79.28. So clear jumping, but 2 on the clock for Raleigh Hiller and Obora's Chloe. So she jumped a beautiful round, but was just a little bit conservative with her track. And unfortunately, that will keep her out of our 11-horse jump-off at the moment. But super ride there. All right, let's take a look at the USA's Zaina Rizvi. And she's sitting on Exit of Ice Z, the 16-year-old mare owned by Missy Clark and North Run, and by Emilione with a Tornado mother. And Zaina jumped her first 4-star last night under the lights. And boy, was she spectacular. Clear in the first round. Had one down in the jump off. But for the 19-year-old, she is truly phenomenal. She's wonderful to watch. I was talking with Jessica Springstein last night. We were sitting watching the class, and we said, it's so nice to watch Zaina ride. She's so simple about the way she does stuff. She does have the plank down at number 4, but in general, she just keeps things simple. Little bit pop on the pole, on the back pole there, coming into 6A, so that one comes down as well. Big jump there, moves up for the 5. Steadies up to the vertical. Just thinking about her time allowed here. Again, sitting on the 2 down already. Big shift there across that, but had enough height to clear it. Comes in, sits up there, and just lost a lot of momentum. Really had to back up at 12AB and just didn't have enough power to get across C. So she will finish up with the 3 down, 12 faults. Time is 77.36 for Zaina Rizvi and Exit of Ice Z. All right, let's take a look at someone who was clear in our meter 50 class on Friday. It's Mexico's Enrique Gonzalez. His own entry, Origi Van de Zeshook, the Marius Claudius and El Dorado 10-year-old gelding, which was jumped really well in Friday's class. Let's see if he can do it again here to add his name to the good list. Again, 11 clear at the moment. Stayed out on the track there, then added a little bit of leg and power at the end, then really steadies up here for the skinny. A little bit of an angle here at the plank, but that one stays up, jumped over that well. A little bit shifty so far on the course. Gets over the Liverpool. So he's looking good so far. Keeps it active out of the turn, too, the big teal oxer. Now needs to steady up here for the 5. Ooh, a bit of a rub there at the gray vertical, but that one luckily stays up. Steadies up nice here. Fits in the 2, needs to leg out. Oh, great ride there. Stays on the 6. Oh, unfortunately, with the hind legs, having the last one down. Time 75.81, but will pick up the 2 down. 8 fault total for Enrique Gonzalez and Origi van de Sesek. So holding at that 11 clear. And let's see if Ireland's Conor O'Regan can add his name to the good list. The Del Shore Horses LLC entry, Manchester. 12-year-old gelding by Quidam de Revel with the Codex 28. Mother. All right, let's see if they can do it. And again, we spoke about Quidam de Revel, the sire of this horse before, but Codex 28, also known as just Codex, if you're looking it up. Sometimes it's listed with the 28, sometimes without, but it is the same horse. And Codex is by Contendros and Esprit, and ridden by Sophie Hinners. So another Sophie Hinners ride. All right, let's see what Manchester can do. This horse has actually been jumping really well. I've liked it a lot. I've seen it jump now a couple of times, and I think it's 12 years old, but it's been a really nice horse. Gives himself a lot of space there in the turn, so deep in the turn there to the plank. Really backed up good there. You could see he had to move up a little bit to the oxer, and then the horse really set himself and backed up at B to clear that well. Strong ride there. Sits up for the 5. And he's looking good so far. Can see just trying to get the balance in the horse. Uh-oh, he's going to have to slow down a little bit. Ooh, touches it, but luckily it stays up. Just lost the technique a little bit there at B. But that will bring us to another clear, 74.79. Clear for Manchester and Conor O'Regan. I was saying I like that horse, and there was a reason, because it's jumping clear. All right, so that brings us to a dozen now for our deciding jump-off round. But we've got about 15 left to contest this first round. And let's see if USA's Adrian Sternlicht and Clemens 72. The Starlight Farms 1 LLC entry of the 10-year-old gelding by Chaco Blue with the Canthargos mother. This horse, such a big special jumper. Really jumps high over the jumps. Adrian was double clear on her other horse, Benny's Legacy, in our WEF Challenge Cup. And let's see what she can do on Clemens today. If you're talking about classic breeding, this is maybe one of the most beautifully bred horses in the class. And I know a lot of people think, breeding doesn't matter, but it does. It really tells you something about the horses and how they may develop. And of course, it's not an exact science, but it's certainly interesting, and you can see the traits coming through. And this horse bred so beautifully, and by that I mean the mother of this horse jumped 150, and it's just lots of great horses in this family. It's just like talking about a famous athlete who also has a lot of athletes in the family, or a musician where the kids can all sing as well. And it's just nice that you can see horses coming out of beautiful families, beautifully bred families, and really classic Paul Schockemuller breeding with this horse. And a lot of Americans I know think, breeding doesn't matter. But if you see it, look how gorgeous this horse jumps. The horse is so high and round. Now she needs to steady up. Beautiful there. Big push out. No trouble to get out. She does have the one down already, but really a good jumping round. So Adrian will pick up the 4 faults, time 76.95, but that horse developing very well. Again, just 10 years old, so big enough here. Just coming into his 10-year-old year. This is really when we see the horse's peak. And we will now move on to Olympic rider Jaen O'Connor. Jaen also was clear in our 4-star Grand Prix last night on his other horse. But today he's sitting on Highland President, the Lisa Crean and Pat Crean entry of the 12-year-old gelding by Clinton with the Cannon mother. It's a Dutch-bred horse. Beautiful jump there. Jaen is just such a strong string of horses at the moment, all different levels. And he is one of the best riders under pressure. I think no one can quite handle pressure like Jaen does. Always rises to the occasion, such a mainstay of the Irish senior team. Of course, individual Olympic bronze medal under his belt. Jumped countless championships on many different horses. Just able to produce these horses with such a strong program and backing behind him. Sets up that right to the base. That was really good there. That was maybe the best ridden of anyone in the class. He really steadied up but kept the energy so that as he took off at B, he was already generating the energy for C, so he had no trouble. That was a super ride. Jaen O'Connor and Highland President also going clear 77.15. So they will add their name to the jump off, bringing us to 13 Baker's dozen at the moment for our jump off list. And that was a excellent ride by Jaen O'Connor. All right, moving on to USA's Lacey Gilbertson. Lacey sitting on the Seabrook LLC entry of Carlin Vant Vennehoff, the 14-year-old Belgian-bred mare by Phantomista Muse with the Quasimodo mother. And personally, I love this horse. I think it is just a super animal. Not only do I like Carlin, but I also love Phantomista Muse, the sire of this horse. Great character horses. This horse was formerly seen under Shane Sweetnam. And it's just a sporty little mare. Such a good jumper. Kind of a sporty little thing. Reminds me of a Cardento horse I rode years ago called Charisma. Similar type. Kind of sporty with that gallop out in front of them. Look at that. Such a fun-looking girl's horse. And I say that in the best way possible. I would assume many guys would like to ride what I would call a girl's horse. But it just means that they are sporty and nice balance and adjustable. Everything you want in a sport horse. And light. Springy, right? If you see this, it makes you think it's just pings off the ground. Yeah, look at that. Jumps so easy. She steadies up here for the double verticals. And again, she does a really good job. Oh, just lost a little bit of the power as she took off there. I thought she really rode in well. She had the I thought she had the power, but unfortunately just lost a little bit of it as she took off at C. So she'll pick up that penultimate fence at C of the triple 4 faults, time 76.93. Slotting her into 22nd place at the moment for Carlin and Lacey Gilbertson. All right, moving on to another super female rider. Israel's Ashley Bond and the Aurora Farms LLC and Ashley Bond show jumping entry of Elka de la Palm. 10-year-old mare by cartoon with the Cannon mother. She jumped this horse, I believe, in the 3-star out on the field last week. It was the first bigger class for the horse, and it jumped really, really well. Ashley was saying it's been a development process with this horse, but she knows she has all the parts and pieces. Just kind of caught that a little bit on the way up the plank. She kind of just took the nice first distance out of the corner, and mare just kind of rolled it out of the cup, out of the flat cups of the plank there. Keeping it active here. You can see she has no noseband. Ashley was saying that she took the noseband away, and it actually really helped the horse stay a little bit steadier in the contact and made a big difference in the development of the mare. Sometimes the pressure on the nose actually is something that bothers the horses more than helps control them. So sometimes you take it away and you think, I need more control, and actually that helps because the horse just feels a little bit more comfortable and free. So gets over the last, but with that early fault at the plank, 4 faults times 75.55 for Ashley and Elka de la Palm. But developing beautifully, and I think we're going to see that horse back at the high level quite a lot. All right, moving on to Copy Champ and Andrew Bournes of Ireland, the Bellwyn Farm LLC and TLM Sport Horses Incorporated entry of the 10-year-old gelding by Copyright and the Chamberton 3 mother. And Chamberton 3, of course, the father of Choco Blue. And Copy Champ here was ridden in Denmark by Rika Hastrup before. Beautiful jump there. Horse really jerked the front knees up and then opened up beautifully behind. Looking good so far. Steadies up here for the double. Keeps it active. You could see maybe did one more stride kind of on that bend. Again, got a little bit deep, lost a little bit of power. Couldn't quite get across the back pole of A. Having the back one down. Just not able to stretch across it. And a little bit deep there, but gets over it. Kept it nice and active. That's why the horse was able to continue to jump it. Nice ride at the Lugano. Sits up here, fits in this. Great effort there on the horse's part. Stretches to get out at C. Keeps moving there and gets over the last. But with that early fault at 6A, before fault, 77.22. So under our time allowed, but with the one down for Andrew Bournes and Copy Champ. So sitting on the 13 clear at the moment. But I have a feeling we're going to pick up a few more before we get to the end of this first round. But let's see if USA's Sabine Cooper can be our next clear. She's sitting on Nazarene Vanda Axelhova, the 11-year-old mare by Emerald, Belgian-bred horse owned by Cormandy Farms, LLC. Emerald father and a Chilano Z mother. Seen this horse now jump a little bit. Very scopy horse. Let's see what Sabine can do. Thanks again, of course, to Hermes, our sponsor of today's $62,500 CSI 4-star meter 50 Classic. Nice shot there at the plank. right up to the base at 5. This horse is a big horse with a big stride. There just looked like she pulled a little cuff off of the front foot. And they're just having some control issues. And I think maybe she was thinking when he pulled that cuff off, she noticed something. And feeling a little bit insecure about jumping the next jump. So she is restarting. Gets over the oxer, has the front pole of it. And looking like she's just getting back on track. Steadies up here for the 2, maybe just a little bit close at B. Rolls that vertical out of the way. So with the circle, she will finish up with 12 faults, 20 on the clock, time 97.31 for Sabine Cooper and Nazarene. All right, 13 clear so far. And let's see if Grant Seager in his second entry of the class, Yogi Flip, 14-year-old gelding owned by Foxlayer Performance LLC, by Quaid with the staccato mother. Let's see what they can do. All right. Grant had one earlier in the class. This is his second entry. We've seen a couple go inside there, but most of the class is going around the Lugano Diamonds. Oxer back to number 4. Don't know if it saves you so much time to go inside there. We've seen some of the bigger slow movers, the riders kind of making that choice because I think it is for sure less strides, but ooh. And there, the horse just struggling at A, and you can see the shoe came off. Just kind of swimming through that oxer a little bit. And no way he was going to make it out of that double. So actually smart choice. I think it was both rider and horse thinking, I don't want to jump this vertical. So just looked like it didn't quite work out at A and causing the refusal at B. And he did yank that shoe off, we could see. Looking like Grant is going to retire within the round. Just take a courtesy fence at number 1. And again, you're welcome to take that courtesy fence of any of the jumps you've already jumped. Nothing that you haven't jumped. Those are the rules as far as courtesy jumps go. But he will retire within the round. All right, let's move on to Natalie Dean, who also had a super clear round in last night's 4-star Grand Prix. But today, for the meter 50, she is sitting on Oasis Van de Buxdale. This is the 10-year-old mare by Quinn Van de Heffink with the Skippy 2 mother, owned by the Marigold Sport Horses LLC. If I'm not mistaken, I believe she won the Young Riders class out on the grass last week with this horse. And this week, she's jumping the 4-star. But she had a super round last night in our 4-star Grand Prix on her other horse, Akota. And the dam sire of this horse, Skippy 2, if any of you guys have followed the sport for a number of years, you'll remember Skippy 2 as the sire of Reed Kessler's Silana, as well as Dynamo from Ken Farrington. And there's like tons of meter 60 horses out of Skippy 2. And Skippy 2 is a Galoubet son. Also Baronez from Kirsten Co. I mean, Skippy 2 has been a really good breeder, actually. And that's the dam sire of this horse. She is looking good so far. Steadied up here. Oh, jumps around that. Great. Ooh. A little bit close with the hind end, but gets over it. She's under our time allowed, and that'll be another clear. 75.14. And Oasis Van de Buxdale and Natalie Dean adding their name to the good list. We hadn't seen a clear in a little bit, and now we are up to 14 with, I think, less than 10 to go. So, super round there. Natalie's been on fire recently. All right, let's see if USA's Aaron Vale in his second entry of the class, I Adermi R, can jump clear as well. I Adermi R4. A lot of names and letters in that. Numbers and letters. 11-year-old Dutch-bred mare by Thinks Like a Horse, owned by Thinks Like a Horse, and by Denham Blue with the Niles mother. Aaron was trying to be speedy on this horse the other day. Had a little bit of a typical thing happen in a speed where you're going for something and it just doesn't work out. But he was trying, so let's see if he can jump clear here today. Gets over the delicate plank. Moves up a little bit in the 7. You can see the horse really shifted. Was a little bit outside of the track, so we had to keep moving to get there in time. Gets around that. Sneaks himself over that Liverpool. Good job there with Aaron. You can see kind of added leg, added hand, added leg, just keeping that gallop active as he steadied up in the 5. Ooh, a little bit close here. Good effort on the horse's part. That was great. The horse really tried to get through that triple. Gets over the last, well within our time allowed, 74.04. So 2 in a row, clear, taking our count up to 15 for I Adermi R4 and Aaron Vale. All right. We will move on to the super young rider here out of the U.S., Michaela Langmeyer and Carla. It's the Rafferty Farm LLC entry. Just 23 years of age, Michaela is, but such a successful competitive rider here in the USA. 12-year-old Holsteiner mare by Clarimo with the Catargo Z mother. Looking good so far. All right. She's given a really good ride here. Just keeping it simple, active there. Uses her upper body. Gets a good jump at A. This horse by Clarimo, but actually not so typical of the Clarimos. We don't see them normally look quite like this. Normally they could be really light in the contact, and this horse looks kind of steadier in the contact, more what you would actually really like. And by Cartago, which was a horse that jumped the Olympics with Jos Lansing. Steadies up here. Oh, skip move there by the horse, and oh, just lost a little bit of power. You saw the horse kind of skip to try to fit in the stride to B, and then just lost a lot of momentum and could quite get across C. So just picking up those late 4 faults for time 75.77 for Michaela Langmeyer and Carla. So super round until the end. The horse really tried to help itself by skipping and to jump B, but then by doing that, just didn't really push off evenly, landed a bit dead and not able to push across C, unfortunately. Okay, we'll move on to Niles Nasser's second entry of the class, Dorado to Riverland. The Evergate Stables LLC and Niles Nasser entry of the 11-year-old gelding by Untouchable with the Argentina's mother. Let's see what Nile can do. This horse has been a really good horse for Nile. Lots of blood, good jumper. It's by Untouchable, which was a Quick Star son. Jumped some Grand Prix and bred some nice horses, but not such a famous stallion. But was certainly a good one. Can see this horse really tries to be quick with those legs off the ground. Nile moving up here in the 5, jumps great there, opens up behind, steadies up. Looks like this horse maybe doesn't have the biggest stride of all, so Nile just keeping the gallop active. Oh, and there he went to move up and maybe just moved up a little bit, had a lot of momentum as he took off. And there the horse just lagging a little bit with the front end and then just cuts down a little bit at C. So in the end, Nile will finish up with 12 faults times 76.99 for Dorado de Riverland and Niles Nasser of Egypt. So 15 clear, still holding at that number with, I think, about 5 or 6 left to jump. All right, let's see Tiffany Flores' second entry of the class. This time she's sitting on Newton Van Et Kreckelhoff. And this is owned by Catherine Tyree LLC. It is an 11-year-old gelding by Diamant with the Contact Van de Heffink mother. Belgian bred horse. Newton was ridden before by Daniel Deusser as well as Jonna Ekberg of Sweden. And I think maybe Stefex bred this horse or did something like it. I'm just thinking about it. And Contact is a Stefex stallion. So 11 years old, this horse. And she opting to go inside of that Lugano as well. So Newton, a bit of a big mover. Maybe she was thinking she didn't want to waste any time going all the way around. She could do the turn neat, and it worked out beautifully for her. Makes an adjustment there, but that worked out great. She actually was able to kind of sit the horse on his hind end and get the power at 6A. Steadies up here for this 5. Now we'll have to keep moving. I think she's okay on the time, but bigger, slower moving horse. She's got to definitely think about that. Steadies up here. Now needs to fit this in with the big stride. She knows she needs to. Oh, good kick out there behind. Oh, just not able to get the power across at C. Again, we see that come down yet again. For the late fault, 4 faults times 76.92 for Tiffany Flores and Newton Van Et Kreckelhoff. So actually, beautiful round and within that time allowed, but kicked out at B, which was a good effort on the horse's part, but then just not able to get across C, unfortunately. So 4 faults for Tiffany. All right. Now we've got the second entry for Canada's Erin Ballard and the Elon Furter entry, Game Over. Erin is ranked 38th in the world at the moment, and she is sitting on the 13-year-old Dutch-bred gelding. Game Over. By Ukado with the Lord Colando mother. Erin was very good on her last mount. And of course, she was very good last night as well. But this horse, nice high head carriage, good balance. Steadies up for the 5. Bulging a little bit towards the in-gate. She really comes forward to that oxer. She's going to have to steady up now for this delicate double. Short 2. Oh, and there just catches up with her. She took the big one at the blue oxer, and then you can see she just had a lot of momentum and the horse not able to get his hind end over B of the triple. So she will finish up with the 4 faults, times 73.85, slotting her into 20th place at the moment with that 1 down. All right, let's take a look at Derek Kenny and Serendipity, the 9-year-old mare owned by Beerbaum Stables GmbH by Stolzenberg with the Escudo 1 mother. It's a 9-year-old Hanoverian. So, German bred. Let's see what Serendipity can do. Dara, in my opinion, one of the best riders in the entire world. I have seen him do things with horses that I wouldn't want to ride myself, and he does just an exceptional job. He is strong, he is competitive, he is just precise and accurate. What a rider. And he is being very efficient about this round. Just quick as can be. Keeping it very simple. A little bit on the right corner there, really on the inside track. So he slows it down here. Now he's going to have to really steady and, a little bit of a rub and not able to get through it. That triple really riding difficult for the riders. If they don't come in really short there, he almost pushed a little bit at B and then just had a little bit of a flat jump. So he will finish up with 4 faults, times 71.34. So ultra fast time, but unfortunately falling victim to that difficult triple at the end of the course, which we have seen knock a lot of riders out, unfortunately. All right, moving on to Belgium's Zoe Contre. And she is sitting on Enrico de la Palme. Enrico de la Palme is the Stefak Stables entry of the 10-year-old gelding by Vigo Darsui with the Ingmar mother. And also owned by Geert Bertson. And I must give a little shout out to my husband's favorite horse, Ingmar. The Diam sire of this horse is probably Alan's favorite horse. One of his truly favorite horses. Ingmar's exceptional animal. Won the World Cup and superstar horse. And the craziest thing about Ingmar's is that Ingmar gives almost only mares. Again, that's the dam sire of this horse, and again, of course, dam sire, so gave a mare. He's actually given only 3 stallions from 94 coverings. Was really an awesome horse. So you don't see that so often. Ooh, she was a little bit long there. You could see the horse just take a little bit of a stutter step as he jumped over that. Just maybe got there a little bit early. Bit casual on the horse's part, perhaps. But steadies up here, good. Big scopy jump out. So she did a good job with the triple. Gets over the last, but will pick up those 2 down. 8 faults times 74.42 for Zoe Contre and Enrico de la Palme. So holding at the 15 clear, and I believe we have 3 left to jump. So at the end, I think about 55 will have contested this first round. And 15 clear at the moment, but with the 3 left, let's see if Mexico's Eugenio Garza Perez and the El Milagro entry, Chalouri PS, can jump clear. 10-year-old stallion by Choco Blue with the Balubé Durue mother. With that breeding, this horse was bound to be chestnut. Mother of this horse actually jumped 145 also. So, well bred. Let's see what Eugenio can do. He's been such a valuable member of the Mexican national team now for years. He is a young rider, but a very good one. And an awesome guy, can I say? He's a really nice guy. Looking good so far. He won, I think, one of the WEFs on this horse last year. Later in season. So it's been a really good horse for him. He's making this look simple today. Let's see if he can get through this very tricky triple. Steadies up good. Leg out. There we go. That's the way to do it. 1 left to go. Looks okay on the clock. Little touch at the end. 75.92. And he will bring our count up to 16. So another clear. Eugenio Garza Perez and Chalouri PS. With 2 left to jump. And the first of those remaining 2 is going to be Eduardo Pereira de Meneses' second ride on the H5 Sport Horses LLC entry. H5 Chacos Charlie PS. 11-year-old Mecklenburg Stallion by Elite. And owned by H5 as well as Eduardo himself. This horse jumps in a beautiful shape. Look at that. Big, big gallop. Not necessarily the easiest gallop to ride. It's very big. And sometimes that makes it hard to place them exactly the way you want. But I think Eduardo is such a good rider. He does a good job. Does have the plank down. Just was kind of turning as he jumped it. Maybe didn't quite get straight enough to it. But jumps through that really well. A little bit of a touch behind at the Liverpool. Luckily, that one stays put. Does have the back pole of the teal oxer, however. And the front pole there of that oxer. Clears the net jets vertical. But he's sitting on the 3 down at the moment. Gets through this and clears the triple. But, yep, clears over the last, but with the 3 down, 12 faults times 77.78. So just under that time allowed with the 3 down for Chacos Charlie. And we will have 1 left to see. 16 clear at the moment. And it will be Lebanon's Jad Dana and Caro W. The Peter Howard and Laurie Cedreau entry of the 12-year-old Holsteiner gelding by Castellan with the Aragorn mother. Of course, Jad was clear on his other horse after 8, so we will see him back. He's assured to be in our jump-off. But let's see if he can make it 2 in our jump-off with Caro W. Holsteiner gelding. Caro W. So, strong field coming back in our jump-off. And it will complete our 4-star here. But make sure to stay tuned later for our 2-star Grand Prix coming up this afternoon at 2:45, something like that. Steadies up there to the skinny, looking good. And again, just catching the plank on the turn. We've seen the plank come down a number of times today. Similar kind of thing. Everyone who kind of just caught it out of the nice distance on the turn, unfortunately, just on those flat cups, if they touch it, it's so easy for it to come down. So, unfortunately, that plank came down. And looking like maybe didn't like what he saw out of the turn. Horse kind of threw his head up and didn't quite catch onto the oxer. And he's just staring at it a little bit. So he had to make a circle. Sometimes things just don't work out the way you want them to out there, no matter how good a rider, how good a horse, you know. Things happen. Maybe they see something that you don't see or just doesn't come up right. And that happens for all riders at all levels. So if you're out here watching thinking, I'd like to move up to this level, don't fret if things just happen. Can't always be perfect. All right, so he will finish up with 3 on jumping fault, so 12 on the course, 11 on the clock. Total time is 88.51 for Jad, Dana, and Caro W. So that will keep our count at 16 for the jump off. And they are going to set, redrag, and we will be back with you guys shortly. Don't go anywhere for this 62,500 Hermes CSI 4-star meter 50 classic. The jump off coming up shortly. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back, guys. I'm Danny Waldman. We're here for the conclusion of the $62,500 Hermes CSI 4-star meter 50 Classic. 16 clear. Let's go through this jump-off qualifier list. Emily Contre of Belgium, Amy Miller of Canada, Spencer Smith of the USA, Tiffany Foster of Canada, Eduardo Pereira de Meneses of Brazil, Vasco Flores of Puerto Rico, McLean Ward of the USA, Jad Dana on his winning mount from a couple of weeks ago in this exact class from Lebanon, Rupert Karl Winkelmann of Germany had a great round, Molly Ash-Cawley of the USA, Elise Oken, Ireland's Connor O'Regan, and then Ireland's Cian O'Connor as well, and then Natalie Dean, Aaron Vale, and rounding out our 16, Eugenio Garza Perez of Mexico. It's looking like it's going to be a very exciting jump-off class here. And again, of course, thanks to today's sponsor, Hermes. Since the company was founded in 1837, Hermes remains dedicated to making high-quality, handcrafted equestrian products for the horse, rider, and barn. Our workshops maintain a tradition of saddle making passed down from generation to generation of skilled artisans. With a strong commitment to innovation, Hermes integrates new materials and technology to develop high-performance technical apparel and equipment to meet the needs of riders at the highest levels of equestrian sport. And thanks, of course, to DOD Technologies for presenting our live stream. DOD Technologies is an industry leader in creative design and technology support services for sports, entertainment, corporate, and special events. Visit us online at dodtechnologies.com. And today's live stream is also presented in part with the support of the U.S. Equestrian Federation and the USEF Network. So thanks, of course, to all of our supporters here at Wellington International for the Winter Equestrian Festival. This is week 3 and our conclusion of the 4-star. Of course, the conclusion of the 2-star coming up afterwards. But of course, we are looking at the meter 50 Classic. Today, we're going to see 16 in our jump-off. Tractors just made their way out of the ring. Horses and riders making their final preparations in the warm-up. And I think it's going to be a very exciting jump-off. We will take a look at the course. I believe it was number 8 to start it off, which was that teal oxer up at the top. Long run down to number 10, which was the NetJet. So it was on a straight line, but they've taken away that middle oxer. So I believe we're going to see 9 or 10 strides down to that vertical. Then it's a rollback onto the orange Kubota oxer at number 5. Left-handed bend to 6A and B, the oxer vertical double alongside the VIP tent. And then left-hand turn across the middle to a new jump at 15, a big black and gold oxer, and then right-handed turn to 12B. So it's the vertical of the double verticals from the original triple. And then long run down to the Hermes vertical at the last. So 2 verticals to finish up after a lot of galloping across the arena. Going to be quite difficult with those delicate verticals at the end. And it was 1 stride to the oxer and then 6 to 13. So I think we might see 7 strides to down that last line to the last vertical, but possibly 8, depending on how they catch 12B. But as you can see, our first one coming in the ring right now, and that is going to be Belgium's Emily Contre and the Stefek Stables entry, Ocean Quality. 10-year-old Belgian-bred mare by Baltic with the Colado Z mother. So they've emptied out the ring. A lot of the jumps are out. A lot of space, a lot of galloping in this course. 1 to 2, big long gallop, then a sharp rollback, then the double, then a big sweeping turn across the middle, another sweeping turn to this jump, and then we'll see what they do to the last. May the fastest win. Of course, you got to be fast and leave the jumps up. But with a 16-horse jump off, you know it's going to be a quick one. Set, of course, by Canadian Peter Grant with the help of Jason Shelley of the USA. Let's see what Emily can do. She's coming off the left to the first jump. And let's count what she does up this first line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We may see a 9 there, but it is a tight rollback. And she's got to keep coming. Good shot there at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. She does have the Kubota Oxer. She goes across the middle here. Quick jump there. Just a little bit on the angle. Has the front pole. Needs to keep coming here. Takes the big one there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And gets the 7 to 13. So we know that's there, but she got a good shot at 12B. She will finish up with the 2 down, 8 faults, time 38.69 for our leadoff rider in this jump off for the $62,500 Hermes 4-star meter 50 classic. So 15 left to jump in our jump off. And let's see if our next one can set a clear round pace. And it's going to be Amy Miller of Canada and Future Adventures entry, Cristiano. 14-year-old gelding by Canosa with the complement mother. Let's see what she does. She's coming off the right. Emily came off the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Gets that. Now needs to roll back. Slightly wider than Emily's tracks, but catches a good one and leaves it up. She does the 9. Good here. 10 across the middle. And does she get a good shot here? She does the 8, steadies up at the end, but clear. 39.36. So that will become our time to beat on the clear. 39.36. And that is our automatic leader now, Amy Miller of Canada and Cristiano. So we'll keep an eye on that time. We did see that the 7 was possible. She did the 8 down the last line. But let's see if anyone can catch her. Next up, USA Spencer Smith and HHS Seattle, the Spencer Smith Ashland Farms entry. 11-year-old Irish-bred gelding by Pacino. And this is a big horse, so let's see if he can cover the ground on the big Irish horse. He's just taking a look at this turn, and it looks like he may be coming off the left lead to 1. The way that Oxer is set, I think you could come off of either and maybe just go off of what your stronger lead is of your horse. Set in a good place that you could really do either and get a good running start at it. Straight line here. Let's see what he does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's the 9. Got that easy. 6, 7, 8, 9. Steadies up in the 9. Sits up there with his body. Ooh, but has the pole coming out of that double behind. Goes a little bit wider here. And steadies up for the 8. He probably could have done that 7 easy, but with the 1 down, 4 faults, time 39.99. So he was a little bit slower anyway, but I do think that after he had that fault, he slowed up a tiny bit anyway. So he could have been a little faster, but there you see 0.6 of a second off the pace. Set by our leader at the moment, Amy Miller and Cristiano. Let's see if last night's superstar, Tiffany Foster of Canada, can do it on Comme Esta. 5 Roosters entry of the 10-year-old mare by Comilfo with the Caratino 2 mother. Tiffany ranked 24th in the world, and I got a feeling she's going to move up in the rankings after last night's 4-star win, and she may even move up more if she could take today's $62,500 Hermes CSI 4-star meter 50 classic. All right, she's taking a look at that turn, getting organized. She's going to come off the right to the first jump. And this horse also having a big stride. Let's see what Tiffany can do. Tiffany never goes easy. She always likes to try to win, and I love that about her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. She does the 10. She is a little bit wider here, but she's moving. Gets a good angle. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nice bend there. Clears it. Cuts across the middle. Beautiful jump there. She's still moving. Let's see if she tries to do the 7 down the last. A little bit deep here. I think just the way she caught number 12B made it impossible. So she will finish up 41.57. So clear, but 2.2 seconds over. 41.57 for Tiffany. 41.57. But on the clear, we'll put her into second at the moment with a nice solid clear round. Just the way she caught 12B was a little bit deep. She landed. I think she wanted to do 7, but she just thought, there's no way I'm getting there. All right, moving on to Brazil's Eduardo Pereira de Minikus and his own entry, Calypso de Matisse. This horse was very fast the other day. Let's see if he can catch that time set by Amy Miller, 39.36 on the clear. With the 12-year-old Cel Francais gelding. Like I said in the first round, this horse, the way that it gallops, you can see it's kind of flat across the ground, doesn't waste time in the air. This can be a very fast horse. Horse actually jumps like it may be barefoot. Not 100% sure. I was trying to look in the first round. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Does 11. But again, this is a really quick horse. It's not a big horse, and it turns quick. Right to the base. 6, 7, 8, 9. Gets that. Trails that hind end, but gets it over. He's going to have to stay quick here. And now he's going to have to move here. Big gallop across the middle. Does he get a good shot? He does. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Steadies up for the end. But the time is 39.69, so he will go into second at the moment. 39.69 on the clear. So just 0.3 of a second behind our leader, Amy Miller, who's 39.36. Very quick round there for Eduardo, but into second place at the moment for him and Calypso. All right. Moving on to Puerto Rico's Vasco Flores and the Anton Morano entry, Dino. 34 years of age. Let's see if the Puerto Rican native can beat our leading time set by Amy Miller and Cristiano, 39.36. This is the 10-year-old Danish-bred gelding by Kabo. All right, let's see. He's coming off the left, and he's going to have to get a good shot if he wants to try to do that 9 up the first line. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He does 11. I was thinking he started a little bit conservative, and he's a little bit wide here. Maybe he's just going for the double clear. Again, with so many in the jump off, you know that there's going to be a lot of people chasing that have one down. So double clear can keep you high up in the placings. Gets through the double. Nice here across the middle. Jumping a beautiful round. Just keeping a nice steady pace. Not trying to be super quick on his track. He could do the 7. But he chooses to do the 8. And he will finish up clear 46.19, but almost 7 seconds behind that leader. 46.19 on the clear, but a bit slower for Vasco Flores and Dino. All right, now we've got the Speedmaster. Let's see if McLean Ward can pick up the win here today in this Meter 50 Classic. McLean is sitting on La Serra, the McLean Ward and Susan Heller entry of the 10-year-old Holsteiner mare by Casal. McLean coming off the right, and I have to say I like the right approach better than the left. I think you can get a bit of a more of a running start, and I like it better. Whew, made a slight adjustment there right in the corner. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But he's moving. There you can see really lands, gallops away. That's the way you got to do that. Makes the turn. Big jump there. Wow, lands a little bit shallow, but McLean puts the leg on, keeps coming, jumps the oxer, gets through the double, and now he's got to be quick across the middle. He went to be real inside, and then he just goes out a little bit, and now he's got to keep moving. Come on, McLean, can you get this shot? Is he going to do the 7? A little bit tight here. Oh, loses the front end, and that vertical comes down. He steadies up at the last. Time was 40.10 on the 4 faults. You can see McLean shake his head. He was quick, but with the 1 down, and he slows up to the last. That will slot him into 6th place at the moment. So no win here today for McLean, but we've got about 10 more to see, or 9 more to see in this jump-off. So a lot more jumping to be seen. Again, our leader, 39-36, Amy Miller and Cristiano. And let's see if our winner from 2 weeks ago in this same class, Lebanon's Jad Dana, and after 8 on the Spring Hill Farm 1850 LLC entry. Let's see if the 28-year-old rider can win here. Giving the horse a little of encouragement there, but we know this horse has a lot of blood once he gets going. 14-year-old Swedish-bred mare by Eduardo. And we know how fast this horse can be, but she is a feisty one. Let's see what we got. This looks like such a fun horse to ride, like a little motorbike. Gets over the first 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Gets the 10, but has that vertical down, unfortunately. So was quick, but he will not be our winner here today. Let's see how quick he can do. He's a little on the right corner there. Horse really pats the ground. What a move there by the horse. What athleticism. He's still moving. Active gallop this horse has. But he wants to be quick. Slinkies over that. Keeps moving to the last. Touches the last, but that stays up. 4 faults, 40.08. So didn't have the time. And with the 1 down, that puts him into 6th place at the moment. So Jad will not be a repeat winner here today. But let's see if Germany's Rupert Karl Winkelmann and the Eichendorff horses, GmbH and Co. entry, Quinn 33, can beat our leading rider, Amy Miller, with that time of 39.36 on the clear. So Amy's time proving to be quite quick, and especially because nobody's leaving the jumps up. So let's see what we got here. Coming off the left, and good shot at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And he's a little bit wider here, but he's moving. Got to catch a good one. Ooh, getting a little bit stuck in the turn. Little touch there, but clear. Good here to the double. Oh, just cuts down across the middle. Doesn't get enough height to get across that. And good jump there in the middle. And he's keep coming here. Gets a good shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gets the 7. Clears the last. But with the 1 down, 4 faults, time 40.76. So that will put him into 8th place at the moment for Rupert Karl Winkelmann and Quinn 33. So he had the back pole of 6A. Again, our leader, Amy Miller. In 2nd place, Eduardo Minikus. And in 3rd, Tiffany Foster at the moment. But let's see what Molly Ash Colley and Echo VH Garandol Z can do. The Sky Group entry of the 12-year-old Zangerside mare by Echo. And let's see if she can catch 39.36, set by Amy Miller. She's coming off the right. A little bit conservative at 1. Sits up there in the 10. And Amy had really quite a good turn back here. She really kept moving. Good angle, though, for Molly. Oh, good effort. She just dug in deep there to get across that. Ooh, horse did an amazing jump to jump high over that. Loses the front end a little bit at the vertical, but clears it. A little bit wider than Amy. Jumped beautifully around back end there. It was amazing. And now she's got to keep moving. Looking like she's getting a little bit strong. Sits up, clears it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gets over the last. Will not catch the time, but 42.61 will be her time in the clear. 42.61 on the clear. That'll put her into 4th place at the moment for Molly Ashcali and Echo Van Gerendal Z. All right, now we're going to move on to Bonhomme Richard and Elise Oken, the High Hopes Farm LLC entry for the 32-year-old representing her home nation of the USA. Bonhomme Richard, the 13-year-old Cell Francais stallion by Katoki. She was our 11th to go clear, so that means we're going to have 5 more to go after her. Let's see what she can do on this small little stallion. Can she catch 39.36 on the clear round set by Amy Miller and Cristiano? We will see shortly. Like I said, not such a big horse, but the horse does have a big enough stride. So let's see what she opts to do. Jumps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice in the 10. Beautiful, setting himself to jump that. She's a little wide here, but she's got to keep going. Ooh, gets a little bit stuck. Probably would have liked to have done one less out of the turn. That's probably why she had that down. Just got a little bit dead and slow there. Clears that. Looking like she's just trying to stay on a nice steady pace with the 1 down. This is such a beautiful jumper, this horse. So compact. She's just keeping it organized. Ooh, a little bit deep here. Good effort on the horse's part to clear that. And she'll just steady up to the last. She'll finish up with the 4 faults. Time 45.21 for Elise Oken and Bonhomme Richard. 4 faults, 5.8 seconds off that leading time. Again, our first to go, setting the pace, 39.36. She's making them chase her, and they are unable to catch her so far, but 5 left to jump. Let's see. Actually, she wasn't our first to go. She was our second to go, but first to set the clear. All right, moving on to Ireland's Conor O'Regan and Delshore Horses LLC entry, Manchester. 12-year-old Belgian-bred gelding by Quidam de Revel. And we're just waiting for him to come on under the gate. Again, there he is. Let's see if he can catch Amy Miller's time of 39.36. So they've been chasing, but they have not caught her yet. We've seen a lot of faults. Only 5 double clears so far. And 5 left to jump. Again, thanks to our sponsor of this class, Hermes. Very happy to have them support the Meter 50 Classic all season long here at WEF International. And let's see if Manchester, the horse that jumped a beautiful first round, he's opting to come off the left lead. And let's see if he can catch Amy Miller. 39.36 is that time to beat. Coming off the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we know there's a 9 there, but nobody's seeming to do it. Only the 1 so far. He's a little bit wider here. Trying to go for the double clear. Like I said, only 5 double clears at the moment, so a good pace and a double clear can keep you high up in the standings. Gets through the double. Don't think he's on pace to beat Amy, but trying to keep the double clear and those jumps in the cups. A little bit patient here. Clears that. will do the 8 coming home. Clears the last time is 44.82 for Manchester, but on the clear goes into 5th. 44.82 on the clear into 5th place at the moment. So let's move on to fellow Irishman Cian O'Connor and the Pat Green entry Highland President, 12-year-old Dutch-bred gelding by Clinton. Cian jumped a beautiful first round. He is ranked exactly 100th in the world at the moment. Pat Green and Lisa Green own this horse. And let's see if Cian can challenge that time set by Amy Miller of 39.36. He's also coming off the left. Good shot at 1. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think he may have done the 11. And a little bit wider here. Big jump there. Don't know if he's quite on the pace, but the horse is jumping amazing. Ooh, that was a tight turn there. That was a pretty good turn back. And now he's got to keep moving if he wants to catch her. He's going to have to really gallop. He is inside these tracks now. Stays out. He's having trouble turning. Gets over it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And does the 7 to the last. Doesn't catch her, though. 41.76 for Highland President. And Cian 41.76 into 4th at the moment. Meaning Amy is still leading with that 39.36. So 41.26 was Cian's time. No, sorry, 41.76 was Cian's time. Let's see if the speedy American Natalie Dean and Oasis Van de Buxtel, the Marigold Sport Horses LLC entry of the 10-year-old Belgian-bred mare by Quinn Van de Heffing, can catch Amy Miller's time. Remember, Natalie Dean won the Young Riders class on this horse last week. So we know she can be fast. Let's see if she can do it today. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This horse has such a nice lopey gallop. Turn back here, right to the base. Gets over it. Does the 9. Clears that. Little late with the one front leg coming up, but it clears it. Gets across the middle. This was a good, that was quick. That was very quick. Now she's got to keep going. Let's see if she does the 7 coming home. A little bit tight here. Oh, similar to that fault McLean Ward had. Pitched her out to the left. Gets over the last, but with the 4 faults, 41.04. 1.6 seconds differential over that leading time. But with the 4 faults, that'll stick her into 12th place at the moment. And I think we've got 2 left to compete. Let's see if they can catch Amy Miller and Cristiano 39.36. First of those is going to be Aaron Vale and I Adermi R4, the Thinks Like a Horse entry of the 11-year-old Dutch-bred mare by Denham Blue. He is just going on the outside there of the double. 2 left to compete. Can they catch Amy Miller? That is the question. Aaron, of course, winner of countless Grand Prix. I couldn't even tell you. I bet there's more than 100. And let's see if he can do this today for the Hermes 1.50m Classic. Coming off the right. Good pace to 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Gets over it. And he's galloping at least. Turning back. Come on. Can he do it? Oh, he's going. He's kicking. He gets over it. Come on. Oh, he steadies up here. Oh, unfortunately, having the front pole there, he was certainly on the pace. But had it down. Gets over the middle. Again, I think there's only 7 clear, so he could stay up there. Ooh, just gets over that. Does the 8 to the last. Clears it, but with the 4 faults, 39.02. He had the time. Look at that. By 0.3 of a second, he had the time, and he even slowed up a little bit. So he was certainly faster, but with those 4 faults, he'll have to settle in 8th place at the moment. So worst he'll be is 9th. He'll pick up a little bit of prize money and some valuable ranking points, but he will not be taking the win here today. Ooh, and all of a sudden it's getting very windy out there. And we're going to have to take a quick pause because the jumps are blowing down. The jump crew is out there resetting it. You can see all of a sudden the weather took a drastic change. And it went from a sunny, beautiful day, and now it is gusting out there. That is typical Florida for you. Starts out nice and then swoops in with a big change. But it is super windy out there. You can see our final rider, Eugenio Garza Perez, and the El Milagro entry, Chalery PS, out in the ring, but he's going to have to wait for them to reset these jumps in order for them to call the start clock. But it is mighty windy out there. Wow, that was a big change of weather. It had been such a beautiful day. It looks almost hazy in your camera here. It's more that it's stormy coming in. If you guys could see it, it's kind of clear to the left and dark and gray and windy to the right. The palm trees are really blowing. And look at those flags going. All right. Of course, this is hard for Eugenio now because he's been in the ring for a while. So it's been quite a long time since his last warm-up jump. And it's hard to keep the motivation and the concentration for the rider and as well as the horse. Now that they've been out here, that's why he's kind of cantering and just trying to keep the horse paying attention to him and focused. But they look like they're reset, and they have rung the buzzer, and off he goes on the 10-year-old stallion, Chalery PS. Can our last rider catch Amy Miller in 39.36? We will see in 1 second. A little bit spooky there at 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Gets over that. Rolling back to this Kubota. He's pretty tight. He's got to keep going. Can he catch it? Oh, and it comes down. That means that Amy Miller will be our winner. So she set that early pace, second to go in our jump off, first double clear, and nobody could catch her. But Eugenio just trying to finish up a good round here. Gets a good shot at the vertical. He got one of the best shots at that vertical of anyone in the class. Does the 8 coming home. Clears the last. Look at that time, actually. 39.90. And he slowed up a bit. He was half a second over. But finishing in 9th. 4 faults for Eugenio Garza Perez and Chalery PS. So that means that our winner is going to be Amy Miller. She will take the win. In 2nd place, we're going to see Eduardo Pereira de Minikus, 39.69. In 3rd, Tiffany Foster, 41.57. So those early jump-off riders are the ones who are clear, double clear with the fastest time. So they will be 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And we will be waiting for our prize-giving ceremony as the weather deteriorated here. So they were all chasing, but nobody able to catch. We saw only one rider. That was Aaron Vale with a faster time than Amy's. Otherwise, 16-horse jump off, and she set that early pace. You don't see that often. Very rare. But what an exciting class this was for our final 4-star competition of the week here at our title sponsor, which is NetJets for the week. And, of course, today's title sponsor is Hermes. And Hermes, since that company was founded in 1837, Hermes remains dedicated to making high-quality, handcrafted equestrian products for the horse, rider, and barn. Our workshops maintain a tradition of saddle making passed down from generation to generation of skilled artisans with a strong commitment to innovation. Hermes integrates new materials and technology to develop high-performance technical apparel and equipment to meet the needs of riders at the highest levels of equestrian sport. And there you can see our winner, Amy Miller. and Cristiano. She had a super round. Congratulations to her with the Future Adventures entry. That winning time of 39.36 on the double clear. Heading over to the winner's circle for her prize giving ceremony. Blue ribbon, Hermes cooler. She must be absolutely thrilled with that round. Hard class to win, honestly, with 55 in the first round, 16 horse jump off. That is not an easy feat. And Amy Miller will be our winner, but our second and third place winners are also making their way into the ring. And I believe first up we're going to see Tiffany Foster, who was our big winner from the 4-star Grand Prix last night. She's taken third here today. So she accumulated a lot of world ranking points for this weekend here at the NetJets 4-star. There she is, Tiffany Foster in third place. Her time was 41.57 on the clear, the double clear for Tiffany Foster and Como Está, the 5 Roosters and Tiffany Foster entry. Little handshake, nice photo op, and third place for Tiffany. Congratulations to her. And now it is raining outside, so that weather, like I said, deteriorated. Very unpleasant out there now. And it is absolutely pouring, as you can see on our camera. Whew, that is not nice. But there we go. Our second place finisher in our Hermes Classic was Eduardo Meneses and Calypso de Matisse with the time of 39.69. And there, of course, our winner, Amy Miller, and the Future Adventures entry, Cristiano. 39.36 was our winning time. She doesn't care about the rain. She's got to be happy as a clam. And that will conclude our 4-star competition here at week 4. You can see horses not liking the rain. They're going to go for their victory lap. But thank you guys for joining us today for the Meter 50 Classic. Thanks to Hermes for their sponsorship. And, of course, I'm Danny Waldman. Thank you guys so much for listening. And I'll catch you next week on Thursday for the Adequan WEF Challenge Cup. Everyone hiding from the rain, and I'm going to go do the same. See you guys next time. Thanks again for listening.